What is Humanities 260 all about? Well, HUM is short for Humanities. According to the Stanford Center for the Humanities, that means this course is about the study of how people process and document the human experience. This includes how the human experience is recorded and expressed through art, philosophy, music, and more. You can imagine this is a huge topic, so let's narrow it down. Humanities 260 is a survey of 20th century culture. Survey means we will briefly address the main topics of a broad field. In this case, the broad field is the 20th century culture, which will be something that takes place from the years 1900 to 2000. But how about that word culture? That could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. In this class, culture is the beliefs and customs of a society in a certain place or time. This includes what's going on socially, politically, and economically. The text mainly focuses on Western culture, in other words, Europe and North America. Occasionally, I get some African, Asian, and South American examples of cultural products too. Now, if you're looking at this like my brain hurts, then you really need this course. As we work together this semester, you will have an opportunity to explore the nuances of all these statements. The text is easy to read, but very informative. We'll cover a lot of ground fast, and while the course stays at the main topics within the broad field, you'll have an opportunity to explore more deeply a few subjects of your own choosing. This course is designed so that no brain should be injured in the line of duty. Stretched and filled, yes, but not injured. So, if you want to be better at Jeopardy, if you would like to understand art, if you would like to impress your friends with words like cultural critique, Fauvist, and quixotic, if you get the sense that musicians are shaped by the world they grew up in and you wish you know more about that, if you want a course that is challenging, where you actually learn something but the instructor is helpful, responsive, and supportive, or if you need a humanities elective and this just seems like the least of all the evils, then this class is for you. So what will we learn in this class? The course has 6 objectives which are prescribed by the college. No matter where you take Humanities 260 with the Virginia Community College system or with which instructor, students completing the course should accomplish the following. Students should be able to describe some important cultural, intellectual, and artistic developments over the last 100 years. Recognize the elements of the basic art forms presented and the interrelationships of these art forms. Identify, interpret, and ask some major contemporary works from a minimum of 4 distinct art forms taken from literature, performing arts, music, visual arts, architecture, photography, film, television, and digital or cybernetic art. Analyze and evaluate these cultural, intellectual, and artistic works in their historical, social, political, and economic contexts. Explain and appraise the global interconnections and dimensions of these developments, and exemplify the rich cultural diversity of our contemporary culture. And finally, exhibit values related to teamwork and collaboration, fostered by the pedagogy of shared inquiry and critical dialogue appropriate for the humanities and philosophy. Although these course objectives are the same from class to class, the way each instructor goes about facilitating those objectives can be very different. So make sure you check out the section on how this class is organized so we develop a shared understanding of the course structure and so you don't waste time clicking around Blackboard figuring out where things are. And finally, how will we learn this together? This class is organized around research-based principles of learning. I've included the principle of interleaving, which is weaving information together for longer-term memory gain. Retrieval, in memory storage by association and in frequent self-assessments. And metacognition, that is thinking about your thinking, just to name a few. For the most part, it's organized so we do things like start together in the Foundations folder, so we share the language of the humanities tradition, progress through chapters of the required course text from front to back, organizing our knowledge on a timeline, weaving in all of the course objectives, and hit the wave tops, that is just the main points within each era or chapter for the content of the course, which includes art, music, literature, and architecture. Along the way, you'll dive deeper on a few topics by completing various assignments within the discussion board, journal, quizzes, and other tools. And you'll do a few projects on a subject or area that you choose. I hope you'll choose something that is interesting and relevant to your entire academic pursuit. This class might be structured a little differently from other online classes you've taken. First, I am a Blackboard wizard, so go on, let me brush my shoulder off. And I like to take my system and do neat things with it. I'll use the group space, and sometimes I'll use content release tools that force you to complete step one before you can go to step two. I try really hard to make sure you have everything you need to make Blackboard work, including tutorials that I create and share, the frequently asked questions or FAQ link left to access the help desks. If you ever have a question about where to go or what to do within the course, post your question into the discussion board immediately. Do not struggle, wonder, or give up. We've simply had a miscommunication that I want to clarify right away. Second, there are due dates all week long. Some instructors, especially online instructors, make their work due once per week, on Sunday at 11:59 p.m., for example. Well, not me. Research shows that when courses are set up that way, students tend to cram everything in on the last 1 or 2 days before the due date. Now, this behavior will typically help you get your work done, but it doesn't support actual learning of the material because after you cram it in, you let it go. However, I recognize this is an online course, so you've likely chosen it as a matter of time convenience. My commitment to you is that all information, assignments, and submissions will be open no less than 7 days before a due date. If you're someone who can only do work on a Wednesday night, then plan ahead so that you can get next Tuesday's stuff done. Don't miss that due date. You can always turn work in before the due date, and I will grade it once the due date passes. Also, I've set up the class rhythmically, so when an assignment is due, they're usually due on predictable days of the week. For instance, look at the course schedule closely, and you'll see discussions and replies are typically Mondays, thinking activities are Wednesdays, quizzes are Thursdays, projects are Fridays, and journals are Sundays. I hope this helps you understand how and why the course is organized the way that it is.